Yo, what's good guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make melodic samples like Pvlace. The sample is from a sample pack that I just dropped called SLATT Volume 3. Has 20 samples all in the style of YSL, Young Thug, Pyrex, Pvlace, all with a lot of bells, flutes, strings, that kind of vibe. So I'll go ahead and leave a link down in the description for that if you're interested. But anyways, Pvlace has been a huge inspiration for a lot of my samples recently. He makes his samples really ambient and unique, but he knows how to keep it simple so that there's a lot of room for drums and for the artist to get on to actually like make a song out of. I feel like a lot of the times people go way too complex with their samples, to the point where like if you add drums, you know, there's barely any room for drums. And then not only that, but then after you put drums on the sample, you still gotta have room for the artist to put his vocals on it. So that's what I like about Pvlace. He keeps them really simple, but he still stays unique. So in this sample I try to capture that vibe, and as usual I'm gonna go through and break it down. So hopefully you can take something away or learn something from the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and let's get right into it. Alright, so as you can see, I got the sample pulled up here. I'm gonna go ahead and play it. We're sitting at 122 BPM, and I think the final sample is in F sharp minor. So yeah, like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and play it, and then go through each part and break down everything that I did. Yeah, as you can hear, super ambient, pretty simple, but I like how ambient it is and it sounds kind of unique. So definitely got Pvlace vibes. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna go through and break everything down that I did to make it. Alright, so the first thing that I did is I pulled up a mallet from Analog Lab. It's this mallet stream preset right here from Analog Lab. The preset itself is already really ambient, so it kind of sets a vibe for a Pvlace type sample. And this MIDI right here is from a Gumboy MIDI pack. Gumboy is somebody who makes MIDIs for Pvlace and works a lot with Pvlace. So I set this MIDI down. I'll go ahead and play how it sounds just by itself. And what I liked about this preset is that it has a lot of like white noise, or kind of like noise in the background that makes it sound unique. Obviously I added some effects. I added an EQ to take out some really harsh frequencies. I added Echo Boy for some echo, some delay. I added Sketch Cassette for some saturation and some wow and flutter. And then I added 2 more EQs to take out some more harsh frequencies and some more of the high end. Okay, the next thing that I did is I pulled up a flute from Contact called the Woodwind Solo Symphony series, and I pulled up the staccato flute from them. And this MIDI right here is from the same MIDI from Gumboy. I think I changed a few of the notes around to make it fit a little bit better and just, you know, make it my own a little bit. But this is the pattern right here. I'll go ahead and play it just how it is. Yeah, there's a lot of reverb. I added a lot of effects to this. I added an EQ to take out the low end, and then I added some fresh air to boost the highs. This preset from Effect Rack just made it sound a little bit more unique. I added some Kramer tape stereo to make it sound more vintage, some reverb, some Pan Man to make it go back and forth, and then another EQ to take out some of the highs. And then as you can see here in the pattern, there's a part where it goes where the halftime comes in. So as you can see here in the playlist, there's a part where it's half-timed. So for the first half of the sample, it's just a normal flute, and then for the second half, it's halftime just for some variation. And I just put this automation clip in the playlist whenever I want it to either be half-timed or not half-timed. So I'll go ahead and play how it sounds when it's half-timed. just to add some variation in the sample. And yeah, that's it for the flute. The next thing that I did is I pulled up a texture from Contact. It's inside of this Atom bank from Contact, and it's this preset right here. I've used it in a few of my other samples. It just sounds like static almost. I'll go ahead and play how it sounds. And then I just did that same pattern repeating over and over. And I just wanted that there to make the sample sound a lot more unique and kind of just be in the background to add more of a texture, and like I said, just be more unique and kind of add to the ambience. The only thing I did for this is I added a reverb and I added pan man to make it go back and forth, and then I added some stereo separation. The next thing that I did after that is I added another MIDI. I just laid down this pattern with a one-shot bell, and I think, yeah, the bell one-shot is from a Nico Baron one-shot kit. I just pulled the bell in, I added some effects to it, I added an EQ to take out some of the highs and some of the lows, sketch cassette again to add some wow and flutter, echo boy to add a lot of reverb and delay, and then some more reverb. And I just came up with this pattern to add some variation to the sample. So there's a part where the flute is half-timed and the bell comes in again just to add more variation. So I'll go ahead and play the bell by itself. And then it just repeats over here. Last thing that I did is I added a bass from Contact. This is the preset right here that I used for the bass, and this is the pattern. I just followed the root note of the MIDI and then dropped it down to C sharp at the end of the first bar, and then put it up to C sharp at the end of the second bar, and then just repeated that. So I'll go ahead and play how that sounds. Yeah, and then like I said, it just repeats. I just added an EQ to take out some of the high end, and then I put it in mono. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the patterns. As you can see, I got everything laid out here. I have it broken down into different sections. I have everything going at the beginning with the flute and the bass, and then the flute goes halftime, and then I get rid of the bass, and then the bell comes in. And I just basically repeat the first part just without the bass. So if somebody wants to chop up the sample and just make a beat like that and not use the stems, and they can do that. But as always, I put the stems at the end, so you guys have the option of either using the stems or just chopping it up. The only thing that I did for the master was added a compressor, as usual, some fresh air to boost the high end. I added this new effects plugin that I found. Just kind of makes it sound more vintage, and then Maximus to boost the volume. And so yeah, that's pretty much it for the Pvlace type sample. Like I said, really simple. I did use a MIDI for this sample, but the sound selection is key with the really ambient mallets and bells, and the flute, making sure you add a lot of effects, and the texture in the background kind of makes it sound a little bit more unique. Yeah, nothing too crazy, kept it simple, but still sounded really fire. Like I said, the sample's part of a sample pack that I just dropped called SLATT Volume 3. I'll go ahead and leave a link down in the description for that. It's got 20 samples all in this style. So yeah, hopefully you learned something, hopefully you took something away. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.